Oh, if you are ready to activate the channels of wealth in your life, dear visionaries, illuminaries, spiritual entrepreneurs, you're in the right place. I have one of my favorite friends, colleagues, mentors, and I actually trained her in the Akashic Records too. That's how I know she's really, really good. Beautiful goddess to introduce you all today. If you do not know my dear colleague here, Kara Melendy, it is time for you to meet her. If you know Kara, give her some shouts out here at the Akashic Academy. What I love about Kara and Kara's work is while Kara and I are very different, we're a lot alike too. And what I love about Kara and where I feel like she's using the work in a way that just creates such legacy here on the planet is she is downloading from the Akashic Records ways that we can activate, ways that we can train, protocols we can follow, formulas we can follow in real time, what we need right now here on the planet. And it's one of my favorite ways to use the Akashic Records. And Kara is such a perfect example of what happens when we tap into divine intelligence and we begin to innovate here on the planet. So with no further ado, can I introduce you all for the first time, or maybe the millionth time, my dear friend and colleague, Kara Melendy. Kara, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Emily. I love co-creating with you. I always love our conversations. And yes, taking the Akashic Records training with you was a total game changer in my life and in my business. So thank you for that. I'm so excited to have this conversation around wealth energetics. And I also just have to give you a shout out for your recent feature on Gaia, because that is so exciting.
Thank you. And I always tell you too, I'm like, you need to be on Gaia. You guys, Kara, we'll just start by showing you the behind the scenes of our friendship and spiritual love affair here that we have. Kara is my go-to when it comes to the weekly astrology. And I think, Kara, you need to be on Gaia. The information you bring in, it's fun, it's impactful. You have a beauty that when we come into your presence, I feel like I just walked into the Acropolis and I have this beautiful goddess coming forward to teach me. But, you know, I had some downloads this morning too that I would like to open and kind of create some story here for everyone. Because again, real-time downloads is where it's at. That's where the shift and change happens. And as I was tapping in this morning, I was like, all right, how do Kara and I bring all of this beautiful audience, these visionaries, these spiritual entrepreneurs into this storyline, into this conversation so that it feels really inspiring? And my guide said, all right, Emily, think of it this way. They said, what if? And anytime my guides say, what if, I know they're about to give me a new storyline that I get to try on, okay? And they said, what if the wisdom keepers, the spiritual entrepreneurs who are here on the planet right now, are the ones who agreed to be the pioneers to break the slavery mindset, to break the poverty constriction that truthfully, the massive majority of people on this planet are not wealthy. And we live in a planet that is abundant and it's designed to support our wealth. So what's going wrong? We'll take a look at some of the ways that we've been entrained to stay in our own slavery.
Totally.
Right? But I find that most spiritual entrepreneurs on the planet have wealth issues. Yeah. And it seems so unfair and it sucks because they're here to do all of the great work. What if we were the ones who volunteered to come together and to solve this? I was going to say fight it, but I don't want to use the word fight. I want to use really positive vocabulary. What if we were the ones who agreed to come together and to solve this? Right? And I think it's so incredible that on this planet, here's the bigger construct of why you come here to learn, okay? We start out as unity, oneness with God. Then we incarnate as these separate reflections of God. That's where we all get to step in our own unique genius. But in this separation, our goal is coming back together. And so when we understand that construct of coming back together, I think the galactics and everybody who's looking down on this experiment are saying, what you guys are missing is that you can come together in one and help each other. That idea of unity and oneness, when one of you figures something out, you can light the rest of you. I feel like that's what you've done, Kara, is you've tapped into the records and you've figured out construct and formula that's repeatable.
Yeah.
That allows us to help each other. And we are all here together pioneering something completely new for the planet. We're taking our wealth back.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to know what you've got up your sleeve for us.
Absolutely. I mean, I feel it's the light workers, the healers of the planet that are going to change this paradigm around wealth and around money, because there is so much attached to it, especially for spiritual entrepreneurs. We can have this guilt. Can I do what I love and receive abundantly for it? Or am I doing something wrong? Is it wrong to receive from my spiritual gifts? And we have to break through some of those collective limitations around money so we can begin to see it in a new way. Because the more soul-driven humans who have money, think about how we will change this planet. We will circulate it in ways that serve us all and create more harmony. And how I see money, like money in and of itself, I feel is a neutral energy, but then we attach things to it. We create stories around it. And that's why for one person, you could ask them how they feel about money. And they could say, it feels really easy. It feels really fun. It feels like a tool for me to help improve this planet. Someone else could say it feels very overwhelming. It doesn't feel good. It feels like I never have enough. So we attach our stories to it. But I do feel that wealth and abundance are a frequency. And we can tap into that frequency of wealth and abundance regardless of where we are today on our money journey. And as we do that, we can infuse that energy of wealth and abundance toward money as well. And that can change everything, right? So it has become just such a big part of my mission to see good-hearted, soul-driven people with money and receiving for what they love. Because it just allows us to show up more powerfully as well when we're not in this cycle of struggle and lack and scarcity, which is actually the illusion. Because as you beautifully said, Emily, like abundance and wealth is the truth of the universe. So it's the stories we've created around money that keep us in lack and struggle that are actually the illusion. So it's breaking through that and coming back to a space of truth as well.
So you talk about the stories that we attach to money. And I also heard you talk about one story that is really prevalent for us healers and light workers here on the planet is, do I deserve to receive abundantly for my genius, for my gifts? This is obviously, it's a huge problem, but here's what I think we fail to see. And that is what's the impact of this problem? Most of us have been holding on to this belief system for generations, maybe even past lives. These belief systems might not even come from us truly. We might have adopted them from elsewhere, and it might not, just a little hint there. Your soul, when you tap into the truth of who you are, doesn't have to choose this. You can choose something new. That's another thing that I've seen you be really powerful in standing in, Kara, is returning our choice. Yes. In every moment, what do I choose? But when people have this problem of fearing that they don't deserve to receive wealth for their genius, how else does it affect their lives, have you noticed in the clients that you work with?
Yeah, it can really keep us playing small and holding back. So before I kind of went on this journey of like healing money trauma, I used to hear people say like money is not really about money, and I never understood that. I'm like, what do you mean? But the more that I dive into it, I'm like, oh, I totally get it. It's actually a journey of reclaiming our power, because we often give our power to money in unhealthy ways by allowing it to determine who we are, our worth, our value, how we feel. I've seen this come up with clients I work with. They have a really high cash month in their business. They're like, oh, I'm worthy, I'm amazing. Then it dips, and then suddenly it's like there's something wrong with me. It's like, no, you're worthy regardless. Stop giving that power away. And it's also about our ability to receive, our capacity to receive in all ways in our life. So it really is such a healing journey.
Yeah.
Passionate about, right? It's a journey of healing, and it's so much more than just the money. Because even for me, I would not say that's a top value. I love freedom. I love making an impact on the planet, and money can support that, right? And I feel many spiritual entrepreneurs, healers, like they feel the same, right? Like they prioritize making their impact, but it's recognizing that when you're in that energy of wealth and abundance and you're not giving your power away to money or those old constructs, like you're actually more free to create that change. Does that make sense?
100%. If this is landing for you guys, send some hearts across the screen. And if you have any questions, feel free to type in some questions. We can take some questions from the audience too, if you guys have them. Mm-hmm. But what I'm hearing you saying is that we continue to repeat this energy of lack and unworthiness, and then we begin to experience it everywhere. So if you're noticing that this is happening in your career, it might, just a little clue, might also be happening in your health, in your relationships, right? In your level of happiness and peace that you get to experience on the planet. So patterns repeat themselves. I personally don't care where what area of your life you decide to focus in on and allow that to become, this is important vocabulary, your vehicle for expanding your consciousness, but pick one. Because once you begin to examine one area and you begin to see your patterns and understand what Kara's talking about, the frequency, and you begin to adjust your frequency, you're going to notice that everywhere. If you're here today, likely one of the areas that your soul has designed for you to be a vehicle to up-level your consciousness is in your mission. It's in your business. It's in learning how to reclaim wealth. Actually, Kara, I'm feeling a little ping here coming in. I know you love to work with spiritual entrepreneurs, and I love to work with the people who are here we talk about making an impact on the planet. What about somebody who feels like my impact is the work I do in my own personal life? I don't necessarily have a business, but I want to be in a higher frequency of wealth. Does this mini series that you are offering, does it work for them too, or is it really designed for entrepreneurs?
It will work for anyone who is wanting to learn more about wealth, open their wealth channels, open up to the flow of abundance in their life. And this is where it goes even deeper than just opening up and receiving financial abundance in your business. If you have a business, this will serve you greatly. But if you don't, you will still learn about this frequency of abundance, because money can flow through our business, but that's just one way, right? There's so many different ways. And in the Wealth Activation series, we'll also talk about spiritual wealth as well. So that's coming back to the remembrance of who we really are, right? Who we are beyond the labels, the titles, the projections that we take on in our human journey. And we do that pretty early on, right? We start to identify in a certain way. Other people begin to label us. And it's like freeing ourselves from all of that and remembering we are a reflection of infinite intelligence. So I love helping people come back to that truth, because from that place, you tap into your true creative power, and you're able to be one with that source of wealth and abundance. And who doesn't want to live in that energy of overflow, of more than enough, of knowing our creative power? Like, that's just the way we get to live. And think of how that changes the planet, right? It really has this ripple effect. It's like for our family, for every person we come in contact with, but we each have a unique energetic signature. So just by being here, when we return to that, we raise the vibration of the planet in beautiful ways. So a big part of the activation series is about that as well. And then money gets to be a byproduct of that. But there's so many people as well that can have a lot of money, but they're still in lack and scarcity, in that they're afraid it's going to disappear, or they thought it would bring them joy and happiness, and it doesn't. So you want to learn to cultivate true wealth and abundance and generate that from within you.
Yes, you guys, you notice that I'm posting a link here, and we haven't talked about the free mini series that Kara has created. So this is the link for you all to sign up for the free mini series next week. Kara, tell everyone a little bit about what to expect in that training with you.
Yes, it's going to be incredibly powerful, and more than just a conversation around wealth. Like, I'm going to channel, speaking of the Akashic records, energy work from the records, because that's when we really shift in our life. Like, conversations are super powerful, right? And they can activate something within us. But I also really like this idea of embodying a new energy. So I want to help you clear those karmic patterns around money, the collective beliefs that don't serve us, and come back to a new truth, a new experience. So yes, we'll have conversations around wealth and abundance. We'll go over some of the collective beliefs around money that don't serve us, some of the karmic patterns, but also I'll be channeling activations. And those are always just like tailored to the energy of the group. Like I'll maybe before I go live and just see like what wants to come through, what would be the most powerful, so I can really get a sense in that moment of what people are needing and the energy of the people that are in that space and drawn to this work.
I love that you're talking about the energy of the space too. Yes, I'm with you. Usually when I'm in the shower before I'm coming live, I'm tuning in. It's my shower portal, and I'm tuning into the consciousness of the container that I get to show up and be a part of. But here's something that I would love to share, which, by the way, I will be showing up in the consciousness of the container, in Kara's container. Here's what I want you to invite you to consider if you are a participant rather than showing up as a leader in this sense. And that is, when you show up as a participant in rooms with the frequency that will be as high as Kara will conduct for us, the work gets that much easier because we all raise the frequency together. And it's like the more, well, going back to my Bible days of being in Sunday school, Jesus said, when two or more gather in my name. And that's in essence what we're doing. We're gathering and we're creating a powerful vortex of energy by all of us being present at the same time. Now, I also know that the energy still works on the replay. And my hunch is, Kara, you have a replay, but do they have to be there live, or can they tap the replay?
There will be a replay as well. And yes, the energy will meet you when you show up. But it is powerful to be there live to contribute to that. And I know everyone that's drawn to this space, like, they are powerful leaders and light workers, and like they can turn on that frequency and contribute overall to what comes through. And I'm always open to taking questions in this as well, because, well, I mean, you talk about this beautifully, Emily, right? Questions is what elicits guidance and information to come through from the records, or even in trainings like this. When you ask a powerful question, then that solution, that answer is there, and it furthers the discussion as well, which is really fun, because I think, you know, this conversation on wealth and abundance is ever evolving. And the more people that are talking about this, especially light workers and healers, like, I think this is huge, right? Because for so long, there was this shame and guilt, or it just like money felt dirty in some way. It's like we're changing the paradigm around this. We're freeing ourselves from the ways we gave money control in our life. Like, it's beautiful, I think, to really see that shift that's taking place on the planet. And even from that astrological point of view, because I do study the cosmos, like we can see in the astrology now, like that conversation around wealth is changing. The distribution around wealth and abundance on the planet is changing. Like, we're seeing that in the astrology. Like, some of the specifics is the North Node is in Taurus right now. Uranus is midway through its point in Taurus, which is a money sign. Like, we're seeing huge transformation happening, and we're a part of co-creating that.
Yes.
And the direction that it goes.
Well, I love that you use the vocabulary redistribution of wealth. I have always known and seen, felt that the consciousness of the Akashic Academy is designed to do that on the planet. And you talk about the specifics. I love that you gave us the celestial specifics. I'll tell you all the specifics in my world, in the Academy. And that is, gosh, I didn't write them down, so give me 1 second. In August, we paid out just under $5,000 in affiliate commissions. That's, yeah, right. And that's just affiliate commissions. We also recirculated $32,000 into the hands of other light workers and, you know, visionaries doing this work. And basically how I did that was we had a big retreat in August, right? And so when I'm creating the retreats, we are connecting with other light workers who are coming in and, you know, creating special VIP experiences for the in-person attendees. And we're contracting with the visionaries on Mount Shasta who have set up businesses there that we get to connect with, some of my mentors and dear friends, because we all just become so close in this experience of coming together to heal the planet. I mean, you see how much Kara and I love each other just by, and we've never even met in person yet, but that will happen.
It will have to happen. It's surprising that we haven't, because it feels like we have.
I know, it's gonna be fun and kind of weird when that moment happens, but you can see the depth of soul connection that gets cultivated when you begin showing up and doing this work. And you know how amazing it feels that I get to pay my friends and circulate abundance in this way.
Yeah.
It was, again, when I first started this, I saw that, I knew it was coming, but it didn't really have context yet. It now has context in my life. And another thing that I want to say is wealth has been one of my issues forever. And I find now I'm like, bring it on. Let it be forever. Let it continue cycling through layers of learning and growing and learning to hold the frequency. I'm showing up, one, not because I feel like I'm still stuck in lack mentality. I feel like I've broken through that. But do I want to tune up? Oh, yes. Do I recognize this has been an issue that I get to keep working on? Oh, yes. Sorry.
Well, I love that, Emily. I love that you brought that in so many things around what you just said, that circulation of wealth, because sometimes I think like we have this idea because there's some people who don't do good things, maybe aren't the best humans, and then they choose to do things with money that we disagree with, right? And then we attach that to money instead of realizing, no, money is just the tool. When it's in the hands of people who have a really big, beautiful vision, they circulate that in beautiful ways. So I think that's just so wonderful to acknowledge and like celebrating you for that, because I think that's so exciting, right? It's like so exciting. That's incredible. And also that journey with wealth, it's totally ongoing. Like I am so committed to this journey continually. And like when I started my business, I was in debt, I was overwhelmed, and I didn't really have a relationship with money. Like I kind of ignored it. And because it wasn't a core value, like I didn't look at it, but I realized in order to grow my business and do my purpose work, I better start looking at it. I better start examining this relationship. And it's been so empowering, because that journey, again, is really about returning to who we are, returning back to our power. And it is a continual journey. I don't know if we ever get to a destination with any of these things, right? It's like the nature of the universe is we are ever evolving, we are ever growing. So the activation series is definitely for you wherever you are on your journey. If you just have this desire to learn more about wealth and abundance and align with that in your life, it's for you. And you'll feel that call, like you'll just feel the pull toward it.
Who's noticing, by the way, energy moving through their body as we're here? I've gotten just like waves of my clairsentience as we've been talking. So notice when your body is talking to you here. I would like to check in with the audience and ask you all, where are you on your money journey? And here's where I would love you to categorize or how I would like you to share that answer. And that is, what's your biggest challenge right now around money?
Yeah.
And I'll share one of my biggest challenges around wealth and learning to hold more wealth was getting clear about what I was not available to show up for anymore. And we think so much about wealth and expanding our wealth as it's about more. It's about more. For me, it was about subtraction. It was about looking at what I was no longer willing to show up for. And that includes some mindsets. Okay, I realized, oh, I'm no longer willing to show up for being pissy and not liking other people who are making more money than I am. Okay, I couldn't show up for that anymore. Along with not showing up for people who weren't valuing my gifts, like X, Y, Z things for me personally, I'm not going to show up for them, and I'm not going to let them treat me that way. I
Mm,
actually found it more empowering when I got, oh, what am I not going to show up for myself in my own thinking?
beautiful.
Yeah. So Kara, what would you feel like your biggest challenge is? I'll put some, if everybody's brave enough to share in here, I'll put up the challenge.
I love what you're sharing there around it is like a releasing too, and what we are no longer available for. Something I still work with as well is that reminder that money is continually in circulation, like it is not lost. If I'm making a purchase on something or investing in something, there can still be that old programming at times that's like, oh, do I want to let go of this money? And it's that reminder of, oh, it's in circulation. Like that money is not gone. It's sent towards something I desire and can come back to me, right? And I think that's a fear a lot of us have as well, right? And when we shift that paradigm of money is not lost, it is in circulation, that is huge, whether we're investing in a course, a mentor, a program, or like a tangible object, right? It's like, so that's huge. And I've come so far with that, but I'll still catch that at times. And I'm like, okay, what's going on here? What can I dig a little bit more deeply into? And I also find for those maybe who are watching that do have a spiritual business, each new level of expansion, I bump up against beliefs again, because it's like having that capacity to say, I'm ready for this expansion. Like I'm worthy of this, right?
Mhm.
And just allowing us to expand, right? Like it's safe to have life be better and better. And that's been, part of my journey that showed up in different ways, not just with money, but like allowing life to feel good, and that it doesn't always have to be a difficulty or a struggle or a challenge. Like it's safe to grow through that energy of joy as well.
I love that you said the money is sent towards something I desire
Mhm.
around when we were making that investment. And then the last thing, the joy, you just blew my circuits with that too. What did you just say about joy? I got to write that one down.
We can grow and evolve through joy,
Yeah.
not just struggle. And it's like feeling safe in that, right? Because I think, well, and I know I've had experiences, I think so many of us do as humans, where things may be going well and then suddenly it feels like something happens out of nowhere.
Yep.
That feels like a lot for our human self to process, right? And then we can begin to have that belief that, oh, if things get so good, right? It's like that, when is the other shoe going to drop? Or can I be in this space? So it's learning to hold that energy, that higher vibration of it is safe to feel good. And I think at the end of the day, right? Like, so that's what we want. We want to enjoy this life journey. We want to feel good. It doesn't mean there aren't hardships, but overall, we want to know we can return to that state of joy.
Yes. And we are here to live in joy, to create, for it to be. I feel like I'm going to get some pushback from this. Don't write in. It's meant to be easy. Yes, we learn through contrast, but that doesn't mean that it has to be difficult, conflict, heart-wrenching trauma. Unless we choose that, unless we don't pay attention to the signs over and over and over again, and the intensity ramps up in how the universe wants to teach us, that we're in relationship to learn and grow through ease here once we choose it. And I'm not saying that your life is going to be trauma or pain or drama free, but I am saying how you choose to show up can still be with the measure of ease in your life.
Agree. I totally agree. I love that. I love choosing that. And I think with that mindset, we can recognize that, some things that may feel really hard or traumatic can happen. But when we have that different perspective on it, we can move through those situations in a different way. And the records give us that, right? The records give us that greater perspective, as you are the expert in, Emily, right? Like we can see like that bigger, broader perspective of what is unfolding. So we can choose these. And there's multiple paradigms that coexist for us. We can choose to lock into more ease and flow and fully claim that. And I know I'm choosing that.
I choose it too. Ditto. Anybody else who wants it, you can tritto, okay? Tritto is a word that I made up when someone else is already dittoed. So you can just sort out. All right, Kara, tell us again about the dates and times that they can. We remind me too. I'm definitely.
Yes, I would love to have you join me for this love activation. So it begins on the 12th. So I believe it's 12th, 13th, and 14th. So it's 3 days. We really get to dive in together. So we get to do kind of that cleansing and clearing of the beliefs that aren't serving us, and then really anchoring it and embodying that new frequency of wealth and abundance. So as soon as you sign up, you'll get the exact dates and times where you can access the replays, and you'll also get a special welcome email from me just celebrating you and your expansion. And I really do love to take time to do that. When I see signups coming in, it's like, it really means a lot, because our time is so valuable, and that you're saying yes to this and yes to being in this energy, like, that's huge, and it'll totally be worth it. Like, it's a free experience, but I don't hold back in those free experiences. Like, it's going to be extremely valuable, and yeah, can just shift so much in your life, in your business, how you see wealth and abundance.
That's awesome. Okay, I have like a little behind the scenes question for you. So can you tell us any of what your process looks like when you get the hit from the records to create new content for us? Like, how do you go about downloading it? Do you go out into nature, or do you have Connor take you out for a special date? And how, like, what does it look like in your personal world to create this for us?
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's so much there. So, I mean, I open the records to create everything now, whether I'm doing like sales pages or downloading or channeling meditations, and I'll open the records and I'll ask for that guidance. And I tend to write. I'll write so it kind of bypasses like the ego. I'll just kind of free write on what comes through, and I'll fully trust it. So not overthinking it, but also what you said, like kind of that joy, like being out in nature, going out on date nights with Connor. We do our date nights every Friday. So bringing like that feeling of fun into my life, because I find when we get stuck, it's like we don't want to sit in front of our computer in the records for like 2 hours waiting for a download, right? It's like shift our energy and then come back and allow it to flow through. The way I often receive intuitive hits, it's just like an inner knowing. So that claircognizance has always been my strongest. Like, I'll just know. Sometimes I'll see visualizations or hear messages. So I guess in different ways. But a lot of it is just learning to trust what does come through. Just trust what comes through. I feel that's huge in the records. Like, our ego may want to say, yes, am I receiving this? Am I making it up? And the more that we can bypass that, the more we can just receive guidance. Maybe not bypass it, but like transcend the doubts of the ego is what I mean.
Yeah, I love that you're using the word trust. I'm going to put Tana's comment back up here about faith, trust and faith. Yeah, I find that, well, and they're not exactly the same thing, but they're connected. So here's what I feel coming in that I would love to illuminate. And that is, I think trust is a bigger problem everywhere in our life. Jennifer Vaughn in the house. I love it. Hi, Jen. So I'm going to invite you to notice, where do you not trust yourself to make good decisions with money? Right? That will definitely inhibit how much wealth you can create in your life. Or if you have seen other people in your life, like from being young, maybe you saw your parents make not such great decisions with money, and so you've taken on this belief that that's how you operate too, and you don't trust yourself. I find that, like, obviously trust is a huge thing I work with students in the Akashic Records, is how do we learn to trust the energy that's coming in? So trust is a really big one that I'm feeling like there's going to be massive movement on in this training that you've created for us. And then faith, the ability to surrender and trust the universe. Right?
Totally. And I love how you're making that connection between trusting ourselves with money. That is huge. So many people doubt themselves to have money. And that's the different layers too, like the learning to be with money, to save money, to circulate it, to receive it. Like, there's all these different layers, right? And trust is behind that. Yeah, if we don't trust ourselves to make the right decisions, like, going to be hard to receive and allow our money to grow and to circulate it. So trust is huge. And the faith, yeah, Yeah, you said that so beautifully, Emily. Just that faith that we are provided for, right? That our needs are met. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
Ian.
I'm excited for you to meet Anne. I know Anne is one of my VIP clients, and we're building her business right now. And I said, check this out. Let's both go. Let's go sit in this frequency with other entrepreneurs who are ready to hold a higher frequency. Good people do good things with money. I want to see every single one of you, whether you are building your wealth through your business or you are just opening up to channels of wealth in a different way. I want to see you have the wealth so that you have the safety, so that you have the freedom, and you can show up to life in a different way than when you were imprisoned in a paradigm of struggle and suffering in your life. You do not have to choose this.
Totally. Different paradigm is available. And that's what we are tapping into together. Yeah.
I'm so glad that you've been here. Have you guys loved this with Carrie today? Send Carrie some love across the screen. What any last words that you have for us before we wrap up today?
Yeah, this was so fun. I mean, I love these conversations around wealth and abundance with like good-hearted, soul-driven humans. Like, how fun is it for us to come together? So trust, I would say trust, like wherever you are today on that journey with wealth and abundance, that can change, that can evolve, that can continue to get better and better, and you can feel more aligned with it. Like, yeah, I always go back to each moment is infinite possibilities. You can choose again. You can choose again. You can heal. You can release all that no longer serves you. Like, you are here to do great things. You are here for big things. I know that to be true. Such a powerful time of change on the planet. Like, we came with a big mission, but we also came, which is really important, I think, for light workers to recognize, like, yes, we come with that mission to raise the vibration of this planet, but we also get to enjoy the journey. Don't forget that part. Sometimes we get, and I say this because I know I'm the same, so caught up on the purpose. It's like, but hey, we're also here to enjoy the beauty of being on this planet. That's so important as well.
Yep, I got the chills through my body as you said that one. So I ditto. We are here for joy. If you want to tritto that we're here for joy, we're just going to keep increasing the energy. Don't let yourself off the hook in this lifetime without loving it, without loving every part of your experience. All right, I will see you all back here again, but I'll also see you next week inside Kara's magical container. Kara, Melendy, thank you so much for coming and sharing your genius with my tribe. We're lucky to have you. All right, everybody. See you soon.
Bye.